Hi, my name is Elena and this is my channel Read with Spinoodler, where as the world burns, we read together. And today is my second video of literary recommendations, mostly with Wonderthon in mind. And this category is the bricks. So sometimes you want something fast and sometimes you want to dig deep into a really chonky book and do that extra challenge. In the past in Wonderthon, Lizzie has given bonus points if your book is longer than a certain range of pages to encourage people to not just read super short books. So, literary fiction is full of those. I've picked only 3 for your pleasure. These are 3 that I vouch for. So, let's start with a classic, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Now, you might say, but this is Gothic. I will die on the hill that Gothic literature can be literary fiction. Sometimes it becomes horror, but that was a genre that didn't exist back then. This is literary fiction. This would have been marketed as chick lit, technically, possibly. Okay, don't sue me. But this is what I think. It was for women when Charlotte Bronte published it. And so Jane Eyre obviously is a famous story, but I would say dark, moody. It's not historical in the sense that it was written as a contemporary fiction back in the day, but it is historical for us. So it's olden times and, probably problematic gender dynamics and ableism and all that jazz. But despite this glowing endorsement, I really like this book. I think it's worth reading at least once in your life, and why not do it for Wonderthon? Second, we have Tomb of Sand by Gitanjali Shree that won the International Booker Prize a few years ago, I think, maybe 2022, and also the English Pen Award. There you go. So this is a chunker. This edition at least has almost 800 pages. Okay, so think of all those beautiful points. But more than that, this follows I think an 85-year-old woman in India, and she's kind of reflecting on the partition. So the British forced a partition between India and Pakistan and basically said all the Muslims need to go to Pakistan. And so part of her family, she's from geographically what is now Pakistan, and so she reflects on her past there. And yeah, I think it's rare that we get the point of view of an older woman in her 80s, but it's also I feel a beautiful kind of family saga where there is a political backdrop, but it's not about that, and it's very much painting the senses of how this woman lives and the time that passes. I just think the writing is absolutely gorgeous. And if you were going to do a brick for Wonderthon, this would honestly be my number 1 pick. But it is commitment, I will have to say. I personally read it throughout the month of July a few years ago. I read 25 pages every day, and that's how I kept going. So I wonder what the experience would be like if you were sprinting. But if you're up for a challenge, this is a gem of a book. Now, for our third and last pick, I read this during last year's Wonderthon 2025. And I read it in one weekend. It was a challenge I did to myself, and I loved that experience. And that is The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. Look at this cover. It's absolutely gorgeous. Look at these pink sky with purple mountains over the tropical forest. Ugh, It's great. So I went into this kind of skeptical because it does follow like a white American missionary family going to, I'm not going to, Congo, the Republic of Congo. Yes. So obviously complex framework there. But I think Barbara Kingsolver pulls it off very well. And this is absolutely like a family saga. And similar to Tomb of Sand, it gives you like a very rich description of place. So I think reading it in one weekend was an excellent choice for me personally because I got fully immersed and I kept all the cast of characters in my head basically and didn't have to think about it. So, yes, this I can prove to you that it can be done. You can read this like over 600-page novel in one weekend in less than 48 hours. I would say I did this. So this is Wonderthon, tried and tested and approved by moi. And that is it for this video. I will see you next time.